Are your literacy centers feeling chaotic, and are you struggling with keeping your youngest learners engaged in the Daily Five? In today's video, I'm going to share must-have essentials for running a smooth and effective Daily Five in your K-2 elementary school classroom. The strategies I'm going to share with you today are going to keep your students engaged and independent while you're pulling book clubs. And I'm also going to share how implementing the Daily Five is easier than ever with these must-have tools that I'm going to have in the video. If you're new to the Daily Five, hi, welcome. My name's Molly and I help you implement the Daily Five system inside of your classroom. And it's not something that I've created, but I've loved in all the years that I've been a teacher, whether it was kindergarten, first grade, or now fifth grade. So a recap of what the Daily Five is, it's a system and structure to help you get to your reading groups without interruptions from students while they're working independently. And yes, this works in kindergarten too. I've done videos on kindergarten, first, and second grade, so you can check all three of those out depending on what grade level you teach if you want to see how to do it in your classroom. But to recap, there are a few stations that students are independently working on. So we have read to self, work on writing, word work, read to someone, and listen to reading. Those are 5 options, and then book club is another one, and that's what I like to call it, but it could be small group, it could be whatever you want to call the group of kids that you're calling over to your table for intervention time, enrichment time, small group lesson time. The benefit of Daily Five is not only that you get to your reading groups every single week, but it builds independence and foundational skills for literacy for your students. So we give them that sense of autonomy. They can work independently. We structure how we set up Daily Five so well that we can release them to go work on the skills. And even when you have a sub, the best part of the day will be the Daily Five. Now, I don't want to lead you astray. There are a few challenges with Daily Five in kindergarten, first and second grade, but we can work through those. And I've spent years doing that. And so I'm going to share that with you today. And the first one that can be tricky for teachers is just managing transitions and keeping our younger students engaged. The way that you combat that is by practicing until students have built stamina for every station one at a time. I like to start with read to self. That's what the Daily Five book encourages you to do as well. So when I'm building read to self stamina, we do not move on to work on writing until we've met the 15-minute mark of reading sustainedly. And I know that can seem tricky for kindergartners and first graders that maybe aren't reading as well, but I have another YouTube video called The 3 Ways to Read a Book, and it shows you how kindergartners and first graders can read even if they're not reading words yet, so check that video out. We know that our young learners really thrive with structures and consistent routines, and that is a challenge for people that don't have that in their classroom. If you already have structure, routine, and it's a big part of how you manage your room, you're going to do great with the Daily Five. But if you don't, then you just need to follow the protocol in the book to the T, and it will pay you back dividends. I'm telling you, if an administrator walks in while you're pulling a book club, you will get such a great rating on your evaluation because everybody's going to be working independently. Each kid will be able to tell the principal what they're working on and why. And then your book club will be the instructional time where you're really diving deep with those kids, building relationships with them in a way that's not possible in whole group, but also teaching them on their level. I also want to share with you 3 ways to simplify and engage your students using the Daily Five. So a way to make it easier on you, whether you're watching this at the beginning of the year, you need a mid-year refresh. The great thing about Daily Five is you can implement it any time. But setting those clear expectations and routines. I like to have anchor charts in my room, some visuals so that it shows my students what they're supposed to do, and we go over those expectations every single day. If you looked through my Daily Five playlist here on YouTube, you would see hundreds of videos at this point. So I have videos on expectations, the exact charts that I use. And in fact, I have a whole Daily Five toolkit for kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers that has everything inside of it that you would need for the entire school year to run Daily Five. And I'll leave that in the description box below and you can check it out. That includes those anchor charts that you can repurpose year after year. If we focus on engaging materials that help our students learn, then we also will have our students more excited about learning. So I like to tie in whole group lesson activities that they can practice independently, things I know that they're going to be successful with, that they won't have to come interrupt at my teacher table. There's good times for that and not so great times for that, and you teach them by explicitly modeling what that should look like. By using simple, ready-to-go resources, you minimize your prep time while supporting that independence with your student. And something I love using are work on writing prompts. Even in kindergarten, if they're just drawing a picture and labeling, they can still do this activity. That's what I love about it. So inside of the toolkit, you'll also notice that all of the writing prompts for K1 and 2 are included. So you could differentiate inside of your classroom, because I know that just because you're teaching first grade doesn't mean everybody's on a first grade writing level. But this is part of streamlining Daily 5 for you so that you don't have to think about what you're going to pull for your resources. So how does it all tie together? How do we engage our learners, have resources that are easy to use, watch our students be independent, pull those book clubs? Well, we're going to go over some examples that will help you kind of visualize where you're headed with this, and I can't wait to see how it works in your classroom. So like I mentioned before, we're going to streamline work on writing and have clear expectations and easy to follow activities. So if that means we have a writer's notebook and the kids are writing in that during work on writing, then I'm going to check in on that every week and have a mini conference every so often with my students to see what their working on writing is about. I'm going to simplify read to self, and I'm going to give my students tons of strategies to stay engaged. So if I have kids that aren't quite reading words yet, then we're going to read the pictures, read the words, and retell the story in the order that we can do. And just having those high expectations that even looking at a book and thumbing through it is reading. And I would really encourage you to look at it that way as well too, so that students can work independently and they're practicing reading stamina. Because as the years have gone on since I've been a teacher, starting in the mid 2000 teens, 2014 is when I started teaching, students had more stamina back then than I'm noticing now. And because of technology and all the things that are coming with them to school, the things that they have at home, it makes it harder and harder, but we have to hold them accountable for read to self. They can do it for 15 minutes. And a bonus tip for you is just using tools that help. So if that's setting up writing prompts every day, saving them on your computer so that you have quick access to them and then you can pull them up and they're ready to go. If that means you have a handwriting activity that's already prepped and ready to go for work on writing. Word work, if you know what you're studying for the week and you have that prepped as well, you can have sorts ready to go, and students can cut them out in their free time when they are not working on something, maybe before school or during a indoor recess time. Just utilizing the other times of the day that you could have set up so that it's not overwhelming and stressful for you as the teacher. The Daily 5 toolkit was born out of my own elementary classroom, and I combined every single thing that I was using after teachers came into my room and said, "How are you doing that? Can I please have a copy of that? How do I get them reading independently? I don't understand how it's working so well in your room." And so I sat down, did all the work, and put it all together in one-stop shop inside of the Daily 5 toolkit. So you can grab that in the description box below. And I hope if you are ready to start Daily 5 that you don't second guess yourself. Know that you can do it any time of year. And I would love to hear from you over on Instagram. I'm really active there. You can send me a DM at Literacy Fundamentals and let me know how Daily 5 is going in your classroom. Or you can send me any questions you have about Daily 5 here in the comment section below, and I would love to answer them. What's your biggest challenge with your literacy block? You can let me know in the comments below. Like I mentioned, I would love to answer your questions and help you in any single way I can. I love talking to fellow teachers and helping make both of our lives easier when it comes to teaching reading groups. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.